Yeah, welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. You know what time it is. If you are an NFL fan, this is a great one for you today. But before we get to that, you know what you got to do. Here on YouTube, if you haven't already, click that subscribe, that like, and that notification bell so you can be up to date on whenever we drop new episodes of this content for you. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, go to your audio-only podcast platform, and hit the search bar, type in the Format Podcast, do a little search. We should come up. Go ahead and subscribe there. Please give us that 5-star review and also leave us comments on YouTube as well as on your audio podcast platform. All that helps us to rise in the algorithm, helps more sports fans find us, helps us find more sports fans. And here we go. The NFL is king. Yes, it is. It is the king of American sports, and its championship game, the Super Bowl, is probably the second most popular world sporting event on a global stage in any given year. So, if you're wondering what's the first, obviously it would be like the World Cup final, right? We just saw an amazing one a few weeks back. Anyway, not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the divisional round of the NFL playoffs being over, and then there were 4. We are down to the final 4 teams in the NFL. I know college basketball they probably, if they're smart, have trademarked the term Final Four, but we are down to the final 4 teams in the NFL vying for the Super Bowl championship this year. And that's going to be Cincinnati, Kansas City, Philadelphia, and San Francisco by way of their wins this weekend. So quick rundown on each one of those. So we'll start on Saturday. Obviously, Jacksonville Jaguars, heck of a surprise season. Great turnaround led by Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence. And they just done a tremendous job all year. Can't say enough about them. Can't give them enough credit. Those guys really did a great job. Went into Kansas City and almost pulled the upset. If you're on the gambling side of things, they covered. I think Kansas City was favored by 9 or 9.5. So Jacksonville they were right there, but unfortunately, the turnovers will doom you. Now, Jacksonville has been able to, play the cardiac cats thing and pull off miracle after miracle this season. And that's what kind of got them to this point. But at some point, you make the turnovers and they're going to bite you. And they had an opportunity to come back and possibly win this game, or at the very least tie it in regulation. Jamal Agnew, he caught the ball from Trevor Lawrence, fumbles it at the 5, driving in late in the fourth quarter for an opportunity to possibly tie the game. Or who knows if Doug Peterson would have gone for 2 in that situation. Late game, playoff game, you go for the tie. Probably you take the points, unless you're just that much of a gambler. But you generally take the points. That's kind of the smart thing to do. But he fumbles it, at the 5-yard line, and Kansas City recovers. Now, Jacksonville actually got the ball back, had one more opportunity, and Trevor Lawrence heaves it up and throws a pick to kind of end the game. The point is, no one really expected Jacksonville to win that game, but they did play Kansas City really tough. Now, we know there's no moral victories in big boy sports, but this was a team that no one expected to be here, and they did a really great job overall this season. And here's the thing, they've got another big time weapon coming in next season, and that's Calvin Ridley, who was suspended all year this year for gambling. So Calvin Ridley comes in, he boosts the receiving core, gives Trevor Lawrence another weapon. We see what they do in the draft. Now, obviously, they're not going to draft as high as they have the past 2 years, having the number 1 overall pick, because obviously they made it to the divisional round of the playoffs. But this is where GM Trent Baalke, he's going to earn his pay by, seeing what they can do, in terms of what they do with their draft position. So Jacksonville, great overall season, but it's over now. Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid are going to host their 5th straight AFC championship game. And here we go. This time it's going to be, guess who? Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, who won the AFC last year and were literally within about a minute of winning the Super Bowl against Aaron Donald and the Rams. Joe Burrow made commentary last week that kind of had some people upset in terms of saying that he feels like the Super Bowl window for Cincinnati will be his entire career. Now, we know Joe Burrow is an outstanding young quarterback, but we know that the Super Bowl window doesn't last for anyone's career. We saw Dan Marino only make 1 Super Bowl and never get back, and he's one of the greatest quarterbacks who ever played. We also know the fact that the NFL is the ultimate worst to first and first to worst league in terms of guys getting injured, teams not being able to stay together because of free agency and the salary cap and all that sort of thing. But Cincinnati really looks like it's taking advantage of its opportunities, and many people had favored Buffalo to be the AFC representative in the Super Bowl this year, and Josh Allen to win MVP. And so a lot of people had Buffalo actually winning the Super Bowl, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Second straight year, Buffalo bows out in the divisional round. Last year, they bowed out on an incredible barn burner against the Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. But this year, they were soundly beaten 27-10 at home in the divisional round by Cincinnati. And this Bengals team truly believes in itself. They believe in what they're doing. They believe in their ability. They believe in their coaching. Their defense is playing better. Obviously, they have weapons all over the place. I believe Joe Mixon is one of the most underrated running backs in the league. Honestly, I think there's a couple of reasons for that. The first reason, obviously, playing in Cincinnati, very small media market, and being a running back. The second reason is I don't think he's ever recovered in the eyes of the public in terms of when he was in college, having been involved in a major domestic dispute, which dropped his draft positioning. So domestic violence dispute, that is. And so all of that, plays a role. But Joe Mixon is one of the best overall running backs in football, and he's doing his thing. So Cincinnati travels to Arrowhead next week. And this is going to be interesting because Joe Burrow is 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in his career. So obviously the Chiefs know this. Andy Reid, one of the best coaches in the league. But Joe Burrow, he's that dude. Jamar Chase, he's that dude. T. Higgins, he's that dude. Joe Mixon, he's that dude. The defense playing extremely well. So this is going to be a tremendous matchup. Can't wait to see it. On the NFC side, you've got, I was dead wrong on this. I'll tell you right now, I picked the New York Giants to upset the Philadelphia Eagles, but as great a job as Brian Daboll did this year in terms of reining in the turnovers with Daniel Jones and just, coaching these guys up to their maximum ability. At the end of the day, Jalen Hurts, in my estimation, should have been MVP this year. As great as Pat Mahomes was, Jalen Hurts should have been MVP. And quick note on Jalen Hurts, pay that man now. He's earned it. I know Howie Roseman and the Eagles are thinking we've got some time. No. Pay that dude now, especially if he takes you on a run to the Super Bowl, whether he wins it or not. He's already in the conference title game. You saw how much he's developed in his time in the NFL. And you see what he's worked himself into, and he's only going to get better. And the reason I say pay him now, get ahead of it, because if you wait and you see what Joe Burrow gets and what Justin Herbert gets and what Lamar Jackson may get this summer, it's going to be real bad for you because that bar is only rising more and more. So I would say pay Jalen Hurts now, give him a little more than Kyler Murray got, get that out of the way, and then you take care of the rest where you need to. But anyway, Philadelphia and New York, there's just such a talent disparity between the two. I knew Philadelphia was good. I didn't think they were that much better than the Giants in terms of overall talent, but they showed it. 38-7, mollywopping. It was just, well, the score says it all right there, right? The Giants have some work to do this offseason in terms of figuring out what they're going to do about Daniel Jones, figuring out what they're going to do about Saquon Barkley. Even if they do keep Daniel Jones, trying to get some weapons on the outside for him in terms of receivers. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And finally, the other matchup in the NFC just got finished maybe about 30-40 minutes ago. Dallas Cowboys season is over, and once again, they do not make the conference title game. What was the last one? 1995. So geez, almost 30 years now, right? 27 years. Do I have that right? My math? 27 years. Dallas loses 19-12, and the Brock Purdy show continues. So quick note on Dallas. For all of you who were pounding the table about paying Dak Prescott years ago, I kept saying, don't do it. He's not worth it. He's not that guy. Let him walk and he'll be exposed, because no one was going to give him the money Jerry Jones gave him. Jerry Jones held out for years and then ended up giving Dak everything he wanted. Very stupid. And now you're regretting it. You paid that guy all this money and he's not the guy that can get you over the hump. When we least expected it, right? Coming off of that amazing game last week at Tom Brady and the Bucs, guess what he does? 2 picks against San Francisco tonight. Now, granted, San Francisco #1 defense in the league. But when you pay a guy like that and he's the guy, he's not supposed to throw 2 picks in this game. But hey, Dak Prescott, I've been banging the table. He's not that guy. Don't pay him, but they paid him. What are you gonna say? So I don't know, but I don't know what Jerry Jones is going to do. I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do. Ezekiel Elliott, well past his prime, 10 carries tonight for 26 yards. Tony Pollard, 6 carries, 22 yards. They couldn't get anything going. 22 carries, 76 yards. Could not get the run game going. Dak Prescott, 23 of 37. Not horrible on his face. 206 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Just not that guy. Just not that guy. Brock Purdy, the Brock Purdy show continues. 19 of 29, 214 yards, nothing spectacular, but didn't turn the ball over and continues to win. I don't think he's lost a game since he's become the starter, 7-0. But next week is going to be the matchup. So you got Philadelphia and San Francisco. Number 1 defense versus number 2 defense. 2 great running teams, 2 teams that can throw it. I think the difference is probably going to be Jalen Hurts being better at quarterback. But the flip side of that is Nick Sirianni is not as good a coach as Kyle Shanahan. There we go. So, yeah, you've got Kyle Shanahan. He's just a much better coach, much more experienced, better play caller. Well, Sirianni doesn't actually call the plays, but the point is the coaching advantage is definitely going to go to San Francisco here, but probably the talent advantage, especially at the most important position, quarterback, is going to end up going to the Eagles. So this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. I think I favor the Eagles slightly, but I'm going to give some more thought to that during the week. Anyway, another outstanding weekend. So we had two blowouts and 2 really close ones. Again, Cincinnati beat Buffalo convincingly, 27-10 at home. Giants lost convincingly at Philadelphia, 38-7. But you had Jacksonville losing to KC, 20-27 on the road. And, of course, the Niners beating the Cowboys 19-12. So just a quick recap, just my thoughts on this game and kind of what I see coming up next week. But this is going to be awesome. So quick picks. I'm going with Cincinnati because Joe Burrow's never lost to Pat Mahomes. But Pat Mahomes knows that, and he's a warrior. But the question is, how healthy will he be in terms of him damaging that ankle in the game on Saturday? And can the Brock Purdy show continue? I don't think he's going to be able to outplay Jalen Hurts, and I think that's going to be the difference in this one. So I got Philadelphia and Cincinnati in the Super Bowl. 2 outstanding young quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow, and can't wait to see it. So there we go. And I'm out. Peace.